欢迎回来上普老师的中文课. Today we're going to be talking about how you type in Mandarin. Now, there are many ways to type in Mandarin, but today we're going to be looking at the most common one, the one that is used most widely in mainland China, and also the easiest one for English speakers to pick up, that is typing with Pinyin in Mandarin. Let's get started. So, your first step is going to be to install a Chinese keyboard. You're probably going to have to Google how to do that exactly, but it should be under your device keyboard input settings. I've yet to meet a modern device, be it a phone, a tablet, a computer, that does not have the option to do this. You just might need to look up what is specifically the steps for your device that you have. So once you've found the option to install the keyboard, you want to make sure that you're installing the Chinese Pinyin keyboard. If you install the traditional keyboard, that is fine as long as you want to type in traditional characters. However, if you do not recognize traditional characters, if you don't need traditional characters, that would just be an extra keyboard to cycle through, because you would want the simplified as well. So you have that option, but I would recommend just installing the simplified Chinese keyboard, but it should just say Chinese Pinyin. Then, once you've installed that keyboard, you want to make sure that you can switch to the keyboard. There's a hotkey usually, or you can click. I know if you're on a MacBook, there is a hotkey at the bottom left, which is FN. It also has the globe picture that allow you to switch input methods. Or you can click at the top, and there should be something that says US, or like US English. You'll click on that, you'll be able to select the other option. For PCs, it's usually something like Control Space will allow you to switch the input methods as a hotkey, whereas you might have to click at the bottom, should be at the bottom towards the right, where you'll find the option to click and change the language there. Alright, now the way you type in Pinyin is you actually simply just type the Pinyin like you are typing on an English keyboard. It is the same layout and everything. And then you're going to select the character that you want. So let's say I want to say ni hao, hello. I've typed ni hao, and then I see number 1 is the character that I want, and so I'll tap number 1. So you can actually type multiple characters together like that if it's one word. However, if you are typing multiple words together, it might necessitate you going back and choosing the correct characters. You'll notice when I'm typing that there are no tones over the Pinyin. That is normal. You just have to make sure that you are choosing the correct character. So for example, the first one is 我叫. The second one you see here that's different is 我脚, like my foot. 我教, I'm teaching. 我教, I'm exchanging, etc. So you just want to pick the one that makes sense in your circumstance, the one that you're trying to say. You'll notice that I'm using the arrow keys to navigate. So on PC, oftentimes you can only go up or down, so you just keep scrolling down and you'll find the character that you want. Let's say I wanted this 我, as in snail. Let's say I'm talking about snail's feet. They don't have feet, but then I'm selecting 2 for the feet. So you'll have to use the arrow keys to navigate if you don't see the character on the first page. If you don't find the character at all, you might be in traditional by mistake. That's something that's happened to several students of mine. So let's go back. Another handy-dandy thing that you might find in Pinyin is you actually don't have to type the whole word in order to choose the character. So let's say I want to say 你好, 我叫蒲老师. I want to type 我叫. Now you see number 2 are the characters I want, but I only typed 我, the W, and then J, the G is the J. I just typed those and I selected the characters. You'll notice You'll notice that there are more different options for different pronunciations if you type it this way, though, so you probably want to reserve this for more common things that you'll see. And then I want to type 蒲老师. Now, I type my name fairly frequently because I have to communicate in Mandarin, so it is preset in there. It usually will remember things like names or things you've typed recently. So let's say if I can't find 蒲, let's say I'm a different 蒲, then again I can use my keys and I can select the 1. Let's say I wanted to do 2, I'd type 2, and then I would be able to still continue with the other character I have. So let's say there's a different person named 蒲老师who uses this character instead, they could do that. Now, you'll notice when I go back to correct it, let's say that was a mistake, now I have both options that are up because it is pretty good at remembering things. So that is very simply how you will type in Pinyin in Mandarin. I hope that this has been helpful, and happy typing. I'll see you in class.